Hi, this is Dr. Amrita, and welcome to my podcast Health Wealth Bridge. Today I'm going to share a few information and some fun facts with you. I'm back after a several month long hiatus. Today is Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose's birthday, and on this podcast today I will share the 7 powerful lessons I learned from Netaji. I will also share the link to download a free ebook I wrote. It's Golden Goa, an Ankur and Maithili mystery series I started last December. It's a cozy mystery and a short read. Definitely download it on amazon.in or amazon.com. I will share the link to the book in the description below. On another note, this podcast, the Health with Rich podcast, has been listed among the top 10 best Indian doctors podcast on feedspot.com. I will share the link to that too. You can find other doctors' podcasts to listen to. Thank you so much for all your help, support, and love. This podcast wouldn't exist without all the support I receive from my listeners. And now for 2024 and more good news. A brave son of Bharat Mata, Netaji was born into a well-to-do family. But he left his life of comfort to give us the opportunity to live in a free country. His father's name was Janakinath Bose and his mother was Prabhavati Devi. A good student, Subhash could have worked as a high-powered government official, but he chose a life of struggle and service to his motherland. He built the Azad Hind Fauj, or the Indian National Army, INA as it was fondly called. Freedom is not given, it's taken. That was what Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose believed in. The INA had female soldiers too. He was a firm believer in the equality of genders. He knew the path to free his motherland would need sacrifice. One of his most heart-wrenching call for his countrymen and women was, "Give me blood and I will give you freedom." He meant it. That's the reason people loved Netaji and never stopped wondering about him. Subhash Chandra Bose or Netaji was one of the most popular freedom fighters of India. In fact, he would have probably been our first Prime Minister if not for his mysterious disappearance or death. Born on 23rd January 1897 as Subhash Chandra Bose, he admired Swami Vivekananda and believed in the thought of a universal brotherhood. Netaji was given the name Netaji by Mahatma Gandhi, whom he respected deeply even though they had ideological fallouts. He was also a leader among men, defeating Gandhiji's candidate at the Congress presidential elections. That must have been tricky, to say the least. The British government had allegedly also planned his assassination and was afraid of his sway over the heart of Indians. His life has lessons for all of us. Destiny helps the courageous. That was Netaji's belief. What Netaji's life teaches us: keep your friends close and enemies closer. Always have a plan Z. Netaji always did. Destiny helps the courageous. Standing up to enemies take courage, and so does standing up to your friends. A life of service is the best kind of life. Equality in action is more important than merely in words. There's no greater truth than universal brotherhood. When I tell my daughter about Netaji, I tell her how brave he was and how popular he was. I also tell her why it's important to learn from his life. It's important we learn the lessons which were not written in the history books, but are part of the stories our grandparents told us. Quotes by Netaji that will change the way you think. A famous quote was "Dilli Chalo," a call he gave to the INA armies to motivate them. "Jai Hind" or "Glory to India" was another famous slogan, now adopted by the government of India. No real change in history has ever been achieved by discussions. One individual may die for an idea, but that idea will, after his death, incarnate itself in 1,000 lives. Reality is, after all, too big for our frail understanding to fully comprehend. Nevertheless, we have to build our life on the theory which contains the maximum truth. Remember that the greatest crime is to compromise with injustice and wrong. Remember the eternal law. You must give if you want to get. The secret of political bargaining is to look stronger than what you really are. For enslaved people, there can be no greater pride, no higher honor than to be the first soldiers in the army of liberation. Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose words, his deeds, and his thoughts lives forever in the heart and soul of all Indians. If you have a famous Netaji quote, do share it in the comments below. You were listening to Dr. Amrita on the Health Wealth Rich podcast.